Tottenham 0. We're going to start off with Antonin Kinski. Sim gives him a 5. I gave him a 4. I thought he was pretty poor from both goals, particularly the second one. I just don't know what he's doing, why he's rushing out and getting nowhere near the ball. You've got to be doing a lot better than that. As a starting keeper for Tottenham Hotspur, there were things I did like, mainly his ball playing ability. That was like one throw. That was just crazy throw down the other end of the pitch, pinpoint. So look, he's very confident with the ball at his feet, but he needs to be getting better as just a general goalkeeper.
Yeah, I thought his passes into Richie as well much better than we've seen in recent weeks. I actually think Richie was able to make it stick a lot more than he has in recent weeks because the distribution into him was so much better. He, as you said, he set up an attack for Bergvall, but yeah, unfortunately the goals we conceded, I think both of them, the first one, I wouldn't call it a mistake, but does the top keeper save it? I think there's an argument to say yes. And the second one is just terrible. It really is. It's a bad mistake. You should never be coming out in that position. There isn't even a lot of power on the cross. And if you come out, you can't allow a striker to beat you in the air if you're a goalkeeper. You can never, ever allow that to happen. And he got nowhere near it. It wasn't even like he was close. He was almost punching Voltmader's chest. That's how low he was on that punch. So that was terrible. Unfortunately for him, there were other couple set-piece situations where he dealt with well. He came out and claimed, didn't he? So... the other situations you did quite well, but the one that mattered, he cost us a goal. And that was a big moment in the game. Very big moment in the game.
Yeah. Pedro Porro up next. 6s all round for Porro. Yeah, look, captain on the day. I think, I genuinely think, like, the thing that he did most in this game was complain at the ref. He was always shouting at the ref, wasn't he? Always. But look, I thought defensively he did okay. Going forward, I don't think there was much there for him, but I think he handled himself quite well on that right-hand side. Don't have too many of a problem. It just wasn't a standout display.
Yeah, I thought he did all right going forward. I mean, he set up a good chance for Rishi, a couple of chances for Rishi, I remember, from crossing. And that moment where the move, which started off, I think he played a ball into Brennan, who headed it into Bergvall, who put it across the face of goal. So that was quite good. There were a couple of moments where Barnes looked like he got the better of him, and maybe he allowed too many crosses in from that end. But by and large, I think he dealt with Barnes pretty well. So, yeah, a pretty average display. But I thought, yeah, he's okay.
Kevin Danso up next. 6s all round for Danso. The moment that really frustrated me with Danso was the moment we gave away that corner, because Kinski's shouting at him, telling him, look, I've got this. I'm in clear control of the situation. But then he puts out for a corner quite needlessly because Kinski was right there to pick it up. So communication's got to be better there, and maybe Danso's just got to be listening to his goalkeeper a bit better. But yeah, I thought it was all right. I thought playing out the back was fairly frustrating from Kevin Danso. But yeah, I thought he defended okay for the most part, and maybe he was one of the men that should have picked up Shah in the absence of Spence.
Yeah, and the second goal as well came from him playing out the back, didn't it? And making a loose pass. So that wasn't great, but he did make a hell of a lot of clearances on the day. There was that one moment as well in the second half, he charged, beat Gordon to the ball, and then went for a finesse shot, which I was like, oh my God, is Danso going to score a worldie here? But shot didn't quite match the intensity of the tackle. Yeah, I think it wasn't a bad game. I think at the end of the day, you look at it and maybe he could have done better with both goals really. But again, it's difficult for him. He's playing with a makeshift back line. His partner's Paulinho, Kinski's in goal. It wasn't an easy day, but I think he did okay.
João Palhinha up next. 7s all round for João, obviously in an unorthodox centre-back position. I thought he did really well, to be honest. I thought he looked like the strongest guy in that back line from a defensive standpoint. He was wriggling away from attackers really well. He looked a bit press resistant at times. And I thought as well, like he was doing kind of Romero impressions at times, stepping into the midfield and doing quite well with it. So I was really happy with João Palhinha yesterday.
Yeah, and there was one moment he turned into a prime right winger, didn't he? And he beat his man, got a ball across the face of goal, but Rishi wasn't able to hit it home. But yeah, I think as a midfielder playing at centre back, I think on the ground he was great. And he was confident on the ball. Played to actually look quite progressive, playing some good forward passes. There was a couple of moments where he got a pirouette to get out of trouble. So I think he did well. I think he kind of left the clearance duties and headers away to Danso. He didn't get involved too much in that. So I think he did his job, filled in quite well.
Jed Spence up next. Him gives him a 7. I gave him a 6. I did mark him down a little bit for the corner. where he just takes too long to tie a shoelace, gets caught out of position, and Newcastle score from the corner. But I think from his general gameplay, I thought he looked really good. One of our better players, handled that left-hand side really well, was getting forward well. He just seemed to wriggle his way out of so many different situations and kind of set us up on attack. However, I did feel like as well, a lot of the times where he did wriggle out of those situations, didn't have the pass to back it up.
Yeah, I feel like, again, him playing a left-back, I think he was one of our better players, just in general, in terms of the amount of times he's coming out on top of in a duel and how many times he's not getting beaten in a one-on-one. He's making the tackles. I thought Elanga really struggled against him. I think he had Elanga in his pocket. I think in build-up...
No penitentiary. Is he part of the penitentiary?
He should
Elanga?
be, but we lost, so I don't think there is any penitentiary. But he should be, because I think Spence really did have him locked up. The frustrating thing with Spence going forward is he's got so much athleticism to get into the right positions, but because he's just not got a left foot, it just really hampers not only him, but us as a team. And when he's striding forward centrally and he's bursting into the central area, into the space, he looks really great. He opens up the game. But when he's bursting down the left-hand side on the touchline, it always kind of stops. And
he always has to check back.
He always has to check back, and he usually ends up going directly backwards, or cutting inside and trying to play a ball in between the lines, and never really is able to create an opportunity himself or do anything himself because he doesn't trust his left foot, and it gets quite frustrating. But his athleticism keeps getting in him in those situations, so it does stretch the opposition, but we can never really do anything with it, so it becomes quite frustrating. But I thought on the day he was one of our better players.
Rodrigo Bentancur up next, sixes all round for Lolo. Obviously didn't have his partner in crime next to him in midfield this time, in João Palhinha, as he was sitting in front of him. But I thought he did, quite a decent job trying to protect that defence all on his own at times, and I felt like he was missing that kind of João Palhinha next to him to really provide that kind of real second line of defence in front of the back four. But, there were times where he was wriggling his way out of situation. It wasn't a bad game by any stretch of the imagination, but it was nowhere near as good as what we saw at Everton.
Yeah, showed decent composure. There was a couple of times where he had three players behind him, but he somehow found exactly where the space was and he was able to wriggle out of it. I thought he had a pretty decent game in difficult circumstances. Yeah, I gave him a 6.
Pape Sarr, 5s all round for Pape. It was a weird display from Pape because I felt like at times you just didn't notice he was playing, and that's just not what you associate with a Pape Matar Sarr performance. Usually, you definitely know he's there because he's non-stop running, non-stop hustle and bustle, getting involved in the game, and I felt just like he was a bit of a ghost, or he just vanished out the game at times. But I felt like in the moments where he got himself into the game, actually he showed quite a bit of quality at times. So unfortunately we didn't see that anywhere near enough, so that's why he gets a low mark.
Yeah, nearly scored. Well, probably our closest we did get to scoring was him, but unfortunately those moments were few and far between. He didn't really get involved enough. I think in the first half, there were moments where he was getting on the ball and he was playing kind of not the easy pass, but playing very quick, sharp passes into the number 10s. So that was good. But unfortunately, he was playing on the periphery, I felt, especially off the ball as well. We didn't see him at all off the ball here in this game. He was kind of just bypassed, which isn't like him.
Yeah. Javi Simmons gives him a 6. I gave him a 7. I thought it was a step in the right direction for Javi. I thought he started the game really, really rusty. There was that one pass that just was completely behind Spence, I think it was, and it goes out for a throw-on, and you're thinking at that point the game's kind of opening up and he's got to play a good pass. But, as the first half wore on, he was getting more influence in the game, and I thought in those 20 minutes at the end of the first half, he was central to a lot of the good work that we were doing. Wriggling himself out of situations, putting good passes on, creating space, picking up the little pockets of space outside the box. So I was really happy in that 20-minute period with Javi. In the second half, I think the moments were kind of few and far between, but when he did pick his moments, I thought he did fairly well at times. But I want to see more of the same of what we saw in those last 20 minutes, because I think that was kind of like the best 20-minute display we've seen from him starting.
Yeah, and I think as well the fact that obviously we're quite reliant on set pieces when he's picking up a lot of those fouls, isn't he? And he's wriggling away from players and they're picking up yellow cards as well. So that has quite a good value. I think he was picking up some really good positions, and unlike against Everton on Sunday, I think he was doing a lot more with them in this one. Was picking up the right passes. I think that moment where we talked about with Sarr, he was really good play from him, had the presence of mind, hold the ball for that extra second, a bit of composure, pick out Sarr on the layoff, and obviously Sarr nearly scored from that moment. I thought he was, creative. I know we expect, I think he's got so much quality, so I know he's capable of so much more, but I think it helped him that he had someone to play off, a few players closer to him on this occasion, and I think the performance was better.
Brennan Johnson up next, 6s all round for Brennan. I think he was a bit of a live wire at times out on that right hand side. Created a few moments and opportunities. Maybe the cross could have been better at times, but at least he was impacting the game and getting himself involved and laying on a few chances for Richarlison. Yeah,
and I think in this current setup in the last couple of games, he's been a lot more involved. He's been getting on the ball a lot more. I think in general play, he's been, I don't know what it is, maybe he's less isolated, but it seems he's got more options. He's actually capable of taking the man on, not like relentlessly, but on occasion. His crosses across the face of goal were quite decent, an inch to the left or an inch to the right, and he could be having he could have got an assist to his name. He should have really. Obviously, there was one moment where he shanked across, didn't he? And it went straight out of play for a goal kick, and that was obviously a shame. But I think Brennan, maybe he's building his confidence, but I kind of liked his performance. I think he's getting more involved in. He's not like, I feel like in other games, that right-hand side is just a black hole when he plays there, and it hasn't been that in the past couple of games, so that's good.
Yeah, it's good that he's not totally anonymous, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
And Lucas Bergvall up next, 7s all round for Lucas. I thought he was our best player in the first half. I thought he was brilliant, really impacting things out on that left-hand side. Like I was saying with Javi, a lot of the good things that we were doing in that first half, he was central to it. But I think, he was even more. Like, he was proper making an impact, hurting the Newcastle midfield and defence. I felt like they didn't really know how to handle him. He was faking to go one way, going the other way, taking it past players, showing real quality at St James's Park in the first half. And I thought as the second half kind of progressed, he kind of did tire out the game, but I was very happy with the levels Lucas showed, and I think it's been a lot better than in recent weeks because I don't think he's shown his best self for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think he had a good performance this one. What I love about Bergvall is just that when he's gliding past you, it's almost like you can't stop him, and I think he did a really great job doing that on a number of occasions. I don't know whether this left-hand side thing is going to be his future, where we've seen him. It was interesting, given the lineup and how we're building up. You expected Javi to be the one on the left and Bergvall to be on the right, but he went for Bergvall on the left. It kind of worked. I think Bergvall did quite well, and he was kind of popping up in different positions anyway. Unlucky not to get an assist when Richarlison didn't quite read his pass at the end of the first half as well. But I think there was times where, that midfield of Newcastle really couldn't handle Bergvall, and he was doing some really good stuff on that side. Yeah, I think it was a much better performance than we saw in the last game against Monaco.
Yeah. And, last but not least in the starting lineup was Richarlison.
I actually gave him a 5. It says here I gave him a 6.
Sim gives him a 5. I gave him a 4. It was just really frustrating because he could have been the difference maker in this game, and he had a couple of chances laid onto him, a couple from Brennan Johnson on the right-hand side where he just didn't read the run properly. There were times where he was picking up the ball and holding it up quite well, but that's as much as it came to. And you've got to give him credit for getting in the right positions, but you've got to finish the ball, man. It's just so frustrating because most of our good chances all fell to him inside the box.
And he keeps falling over in the box, doesn't he?
Yeah.
That's a bit annoying. That's really annoying.
And it's just really frustrating that I think if Moani starts, someone that can just put the ball in the back of the net, then we might not lose this game.
You could say maybe Moani doesn't get in those positions, though. You never know.
Potentially.
So it swings around about. So I would say Richarlison Well, he took the brunt of the criticism yesterday because pretty much all our best moments fell to him and he couldn't put any of them away, and that was really frustrating. In terms of the real gilt-edged chances he had, there was probably only one, you would say. I mean, depends if you put the other two where he was inches away down to him or down to the passer.
I think one of them was definitely down to him. The one where he was just a bit too in front, like he should have held his run there.
Yeah,
and waited for the ball to come.
I think the defender distracted him, obviously. I think because Dan Burn looked like he was going to touch it. He ended up not touching it, and then Richarlison ended up being ahead of the ball rather than just holding his run. Look, I think as a striker, you've got to anticipate the worst thing happening in terms of you've got to anticipate a mistake or something like that. And Burn obviously misses the ball when he probably should have cleared it, and Rishi should be tapping at home in that, but he ended up being ahead of the ball. The other one, Johnson's pass was slightly ahead of him, couldn't quite stretch. I think there was another one, though, where there was one where Paulinho was whipping the ball in, and Rishi just went to ground for no reason. Stay up and try and get something on it. That was frustrating. He just keeps going to ground for some reason to try, I don't know, sliding and stuff like that. What I would say about him is I felt like his general play was a lot better in this game than it has been in other games in the recent last few games, where he's kind of not been able to hold the ball up at all. And this one, at least he was buying some fouls. He was actually holding the ball up a lot more, bringing other players into play a lot better than he has been, like a bit more like how he was doing at the beginning of the season. But, you know, he's our number 9 and he's got to stick, and that big chance, especially the header at the end of the first half, he's got to be sticking that in the back of the net, or at least making the keeper make a good save. Like, it was straight out Ramsdale. That was really poor. So that was really frustrating. And he did have numerous chances. I think, he's got to put one of them away.
Substitutes, Kolo Muani, 6 all round for Muani. Again, I saw some stuff that I really liked from Muani. Very energetic. I thought him trying to hold up the ball looks decent. It all comes down to that run, doesn't it? It looked like he was on the way to score an absolute worldie, taking it past the whole of the Newcastle, ripping through the heart of the Newcastle team, only for the ref to tackle him when he was mid-stride. So that was so frustrating, because like you never know what could have happened at the end of that. And if he goes and scores that, you're talking about one of the best goals we've seen.
I know, but he got tackled 30 yards from goal, so it's hard to say.
Yeah, but look how far he travelled with it.
I understand that, but it's hard to say he would have scored when he was 30 yards out.
No, I'm not saying he would have scored, but imagine if he did.
Yeah, I guess. But
you just never know what could have happened.
You never know, but it's hard to say that was an opportunity when he was 30 yards from goal.
But I mean, when you're taking it past 2, 3, 4, however many men he took it past, and you're in a good of a stride as he's going, like it looked like he was. He just ripped through the whole heart of them. Like he was doing so well.
He had a good run. He made a good run, and he was really unlucky that the referee tackled him. But I'm not going to say the referee stopped him from scoring a worldie. But
might have done.
Might have done in like a 1% chance, I would say at that point.
1%, you reckon?
Yeah. What, from scoring from that position?
I mean, maybe he wouldn't have scored, but it would have opened the game up for us, and someone could have made a run in behind, and you never know what could have happened.
It wasn't really a chance, but it was unlucky. But I agree with you. I don't know. I didn't see much from him on the left. He had a couple of moments.
I like him in the 9, though.
Yeah, definitely like him in the 9. But again, I like what I'm seeing, but he just hasn't really been enough of a goal threat. And so I need to see more from that, from him, which is maybe I'll come with a bit more time. But I don't think he's had a shot as a Tottenham player yet.
Yeah, hasn't had time, though.
So he's had a few minutes. I'd like to have, one shot is all I'm asking for. Haven't seen that.
Yeah.
So I want to see him be more of a goal threat. But I do like what I see from him.
Yeah, me too. Mohamed Kudus up next. 5s all round for Kudus. Yeah, I just felt like we're all pining for him to come on, and he came on and just didn't really impact much. The biggest highlight was him getting in that fight with Joe Linton. Apart from that, I think he was, marked out the game, to be honest.
Somehow he got booked for, same as Joe Linton did, which I thought Joe Linton could have easily been sent off for that challenge. I wasn't. He couldn't really get to grips with it, could he?
No.
Unfortunately, it was just he came on and couldn't really get to grips with the pace of the game. And I also think there was a moment, pretty much, once Newcastle had Tonali, Joe Linton, and Guimaraes on. Spurs themselves couldn't really get out their own half, so all of a sudden he was struggling. Yeah.
Thomas Frank up next. Him gives him a 5. I gave him a 6. For me, a lot of people saying, they want to see Spurs attack a bit better, go through the central areas. I think he's tweaking things. I think it's starting to look a little bit better. Obviously, it didn't over the course of the 90 minutes, and look, we deserve to lose, and he's our manager, so he's got to take the brunt of it. But there were moments in the game where we looked really good, and hopefully he can take that, learn from it, build on it, and we can carry on going in the right direction. But the reality is we're at the cup. We deserve to lose. In terms of the lineup he picked, I don't have too many problems with it because, you know, players need rests and we've just got a non-stop schedule. So look, it is what it is. The goals that we conceded, I can't put down on him. It was just individual errors, in my opinion. So yeah, I don't think that he could have done much to stem the tide yesterday.
Yeah, he just hasn't really got us up to speed just yet, and that's, look, it's not a criticism of him, it's just the reality. I think we did all right. We played at times quite good. At times we were, I think the first 20 minutes and the last 20 minutes, we struggled to get out of our own half, and we were really second best. But there were periods during that game where it was even, and we were playing some good football, and we were unlucky not to score, but unfortunately wasn't enough of it. We were second best on the day. We weren't great, overall, but there were periods where you saw some little flicker of positivity, so that was good. But for me, look, that's what it was. It wasn't like anything amazing. It was good. There was some good moments, but we ended up losing 2-0, I think, fairly, unfortunately.
Yeah. All right, so that is our player ratings. 2-0 loss against Newcastle. Next